What's up, guys? Welcome back to today's video. We are finally diving into the 1.5J. Again, as you guys saw in the last video, we got the head done, and I said we're gonna put it on the block, but we'll see if we get there today. Honestly, I don't know how far we're gonna get on today. I'm just gonna do whatever it is that I can, and based off the title of this video, you guys will know before I even do. So that being said, well, let me show you guys all the parts that I got, and we'll start just chugging on, doing some work, getting it together. So aside from our head, which you guys already saw, and the block, we got a package from Drift Motion a while ago, and I actually got this quite some time ago when I got the valve seals. I actually ordered that all at once, so I've had this for quite some time. I also ordered a Gates timing belt. This is the nice pretty blue one, a fluid amper harmonic net balancer pulley thing. I got a new timing belt tensioner. Yeah, timing belt tensioner, front main seal, rear main seal, cam seals, oil pump O-rings, water pump O-rings, and oil pickup gaskets, and oil pan gaskets. I got the 1.5J water neck. This one's slightly longer than the 2J one because 2J on 1J, yeah, there's a difference in height. So the 1J one is super short, the 2J one's a little bit longer, and the 1.5J, the longest one. So you have to make sure you get this if you're doing a 1.5J. And Drift Motion offers this, and it's not too expensive. Also got a new timing belt. I got a new oil pump, a 2JZ GTE oil pump, because if you guys didn't know, the non-VVTi GE motors don't have the crank position sensor. So this pump has it, and it also gives us a little bit more oil pressure. In here, you can't really see it, but take my word, we have the timing belt tensioner pulley, a few exhaust studs because we broke some on the head a while ago when we took everything apart. And that's all I can really see in here. We'll check that out later. We also got new valve cover gaskets for when we put it all back together. So that being said, we got quite the works, quite a ways of work ahead. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but we got quite a bit of work. So let's just go ahead and knock out what we can and get started on the 1.5J build. First things first, we gotta unwrap the motor. And for those of you guys just wondering, even though it is in the garage in the closed environment, I did wrap up the motor just because I have, when I'm not home, if I'm at work, my dogs are in the garage, and I didn't want their hair or their fur to be floating around getting into the motor and, I don't know, maybe causing damage. I have no idea. But to just avoid that, we went ahead and wrapped it up. So let's go ahead and unwrap it and get going. Ouch. Fucking freaking cut myself. I wiped out the blood, but you can kind of see it. You guys already know I cleaned the pistons and the walls not too long ago. That's why the pistons look nice and pretty new. And the walls, we all know this motor's a really good engine, low miles, so nothing wrong with it. But obviously you can see the mating surface is still a little dirty. So to clean that, what we did, instead of getting the whole thing decked, I got this little whiz wheel here with this attachment where we're going to put on a drill. We're going to drop the pistons a little bit and just hit this surface with it. And before you guys talk crap, this is how the techs at Toyota do it. I asked them, and this is how everyone on the internet says to do it. So this is a very fine grit whiz wheel. I think it's like a, let's see if it says here. No, but it's a 120 grit, I think, bristle disc or whatever. So this is just going to clean it off. It's an iron block, obviously, so this is not going to be enough to be able to tear into the metal. It's just going to get all the debris off. So we're going to go ahead and get to that, clean off the surface, and then probably see if our head gasket and head can go on. Missing someone. We got the surface all cleaned up, and we're still going to clean the cylinder walls with ATF and the towel, but nonetheless, we're going to pull the oil pump off first. That way we have everything off the block, then we can start assembling it with everything that we need. So back to the time lapse. bat, looking at them side by side, you can tell the main differences right here and right here. This is a crank position sensor. That's where it plugs in. This side doesn't have one because this is a GE non-VVTi. It has a distributor, so it doesn't have the crank position sensor. Luckily, the 1J did, so we can steal the sensor off of the 1J. We just did a whole new oil pump. I could have used the 1J oil pump, but the way that thing blew up with all the metal and oil, I didn't want to risk it. So we just got a brand new oil pump, Toyota oil pump. So yeah, other than the crank position sensor, it also has this right here, which holds the crank position sensor like trigger wheel in, I believe. But yeah, other than that, it's pretty much identical. So let's go ahead and slap some RTV, put the new O-rings that we have in there, and we'll be good to go. Because we did in fact take these O-rings out. The new oil pump does not come with one. This one's for the water pump. But yeah, we're gonna get all new seals in this thing, so it'll be good and ready to go. So here's where this matches to the block. We're gonna put some RTV on these O-rings just so they stick onto the block, but pretty much it's gonna go right there and one right there. And you can see where the grooves are. These are for where the RTV or FIPG wants to sit into. Unfortunately, I don't have any Toyota FIPG here, which I can get at work, but I'm in a rush, and I'm not in a rush, but I just want to get it done. So I do have black RTV, so we're just gonna use that. You can see where it needs it to have it on here. So instead of putting it on the oil pump, I'm just gonna put it on the actual block. That way I don't get any excessive RTV anywhere. Also, just for little tip, since the oil pump doesn't have a front main seal, instead of putting it on the motor, then trying to slip this in and hammer it in, I'm just gonna go ahead and press it in now. That way it can just all slide in as one unit. So we're gonna get to that. Cancel that. That seems to be a lot harder than I expected. So we're just gonna put the pump on and then just use the crankshaft as a little guide. So disregard what I just said. I got the oil pan all set up. We cleaned off the surface for, where's it at? We cleaned off the surface for the windage tray, got all the metal shavings out, even the strainer and the lower oil pan. All the metal shavings are gone, so we're gonna go ahead and put a new gasket in here, which we got from Drift Motion, and we're gonna go ahead and bolt all that up. So we take this gasket right here. It's a thin metal gasket. Just gonna throw it in there, bolt the strainer on, and then bolt the windage tray, and we can do the lower pan, and we'll be done with the bottom. Alright, so we got the motor flipped back over. Our surface is as clean as we're going to get it. Judge me in the comments below. Let me know if this is not clean enough or if it is. All these stuff seems to be pretty painted in there, so the gasket should be able to take care of that. But what we're doing now, since the bottom is done, we're just going to put all the cylinders on top dead, or not, like bottom dead center, or whatever you want to call it. That way I can get a shop towel and some ATF. I heard this is what you're supposed to do. Get some ATF on the towel and kind of just wipe the cylinder walls clean. Get all the little dirt and debris out of there. So I'm going to go ahead and wipe down the cylinder walls and see what we're going to do after that. Alright, so we got the ARP head studs in, as you can see. So you screw these in pretty much hand tight all the way down. I use the little tiny impact driver just to speed it up, but I didn't use any of the ooga doogas. Just drove it all the way till it pretty much stopped, all even. So then what you do is you now put the washers on the head, because if you put the head on first, you're not going to be able to get the washers on there. So I'll show you that. But then once you put the washers on the head, make sure you lubricate it with the fastener assembly lubricant. You also want to lubricate the threads of the nuts, and then you can throw it on. But let's go ahead and put the washers on real quick and continue on. If you look in here, you can see the slots where the washers have to sit into, and the slot isn't exactly as wide as the washer. So what you have to do is you have to get the washer in there, because if the stud's already through, there's no way it's going to be able to just go on. So you want to lube your washers, throw them in there, and lube the nuts. That way it doesn't have any abnormal frictions while you're tightening it and torquing it to spec. So let's just go ahead and get through that real quick. So pretty much how I've seen people do it is you grab the washer, get a little bit of the assembly lube from ARP that it comes with, and you just kind of get the surfaces nice and lubed up. It's pretty much grease, I want to say. But you just want to make sure to lube up the surface, get it all nice and not dry. And then you take a screwdriver of some sort, stick it in there, and stick it in the slot. And just so the screwdriver can just pretty much just guide the washer where it has to go. And you do that for the rest of them, and then we'll be on our way to putting the head on the car. Stop playing with them. So I completely forgot to hit record, but we got the head on. It's aligned with the dowels and everything. Washers stayed in, so that's good. So now all that we have left is to go ahead and throw the hardware on there, tighten it up. So you want to tighten it up to 80 foot-pounds. So we're going to do 3 passes, 30, 60, and then 80. So let's go ahead and throw you back on the timelapse, and let's get through that real quick. So we got the nuts all lubed up and set in place. And before you guys yell at me, if you look over here on the computer, I have the torque sequence right there. So you pretty much start from the middle and work your way out. So we're going to go ahead and put you guys back on the time lapse. But keep in mind, if I ever look up, that's what I'm looking at. Now that we got all the ARP head studs, we got the nuts tightened, not tightened, but pretty much just drove in. Now we're going to go ahead and take the torque wrench and torque them down in our sequences. So in the torque sequence, 3 sets, 30, 60, 80. Just go ahead and touch you guys back down and knock that out real quick. And if you guys didn't know, the reason why we do 30, 60, 80 instead of going straight to 80 is just to make sure that the head gets tightened down evenly and there's no like uneven warpage and unnecessary like, I don't know, but yeah, it's just to make sure it's the torque is whatever. You guys know what I'm trying to say. Back to that. Got it to 30 and now 60, so we're going to do our final torque pass at 80 psi. So we're going to go ahead and set the torque wrench and send it on through. Alright, one thing I want to show you guys, this is the time belt like crank gear or whatever for the GE motor. As you can see, there's nothing behind it, it's just the gear. For the 1J, this is that gear, and you can see it has this little star thing behind it. I don't know exactly what it's called. I think it's like the trigger sensor or whatever. I don't know. It's like the trigger. It's where the sensor picks up where the crank is. I don't know exactly how to explain it. But we're not going to be using this. We are going to be using this gear because of our 1J or 2J GTE oil pump. It now has the sensor that we're going to be using. You can see here. So this is going to slip on, and we're now going to have that, whatever it's called. I'm tired, guys. But that's going to be it for this video. As you can see, it's very late. I have work tomorrow, and I think we made a good amount of progress on the engine. So that being said, I hope you guys are stoked that we're getting back into the 1.5J build. So thank you guys for watching. Peace out. See you in the next one.